Today marks 3 years since we woke up to the news of a mass shooting in Colorado Springs. Just before midnight on November 19th, 2022, a gunman opened fire inside Club Q, killing 5 people. Daniel Aston, Kelly Loving, Ashley Paugh, Derek Rump, and Raymond Green Vance. Since that night, lawmakers here in Colorado have passed the Kelly Loving Act to expand legal protections for the transgender community. In today's Justice Gap, we want to honor Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's a solemn observance held every year on November 20th to honor transgender people who have lost their lives to anti-transgender violence. And today, we are honored to be joined by 3 activists who were recently recognized at the KUSA 34th Annual Civil Rights Awards, who are pushing for change, justice, and safety in your everyday work. Thank you for being here.
Joining us are Brianna Titone, Anaya Robinson, and Blasingame. Again, thank you so much for all the work that you guys do, and congratulations too. I'm glad that you guys are being recognized for your advocacy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, today is not just a day of remembrance, it's deeply personal for many community members. What does today represent to each of you?
Today is a day of, as you mentioned it, remembrance, right? It's a time for our community to take a collective mourning and really try to find resiliency out of that. I think they call it Transgender Day of Remembrance, but every day is Transgender Day of Resiliency. And I think that sometimes gets lost in the translation. Most of the things that we see are very negative sometimes about trans people. It's a lot of sad stories. And it's really amazing that we get the opportunity to speak about this today with people during a time we have to be very brave to support trans people. So just thank you again for having us on here. It means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this has a lot of emotions for me. It's some grief, but love and a shared resilience and responsibility. Our community has to carry the names and the stories of the folks who have passed. And it reminds us that there's a resiliency that we've had throughout the years and throughout the generations, because we always had to come to care for each other. And we can't just think about just the people who have lost their lives, but really to commit to the people who are still alive today.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really collective grief around this day, and those of us in the trans community giving ourselves the space to really feel that. But I also think it's a day of really remembering those who came before us and fought to get us to the point where we are today, where the 3 of us can be here, right? And being really thankful, being really grateful that we have had so many people who have fought so hard and put their lives and their bodies on the line so that we can have what we do in the realm of trans rights today, and also understanding that we now who are still here have a responsibility and an obligation to continue fighting and to continue pushing until we have true equity, true justice for trans folks across the board.
And let me ask you, as 3 activists, do you operate in spaces of hope, right? When you look at the numbers, when you look at where things are today, are youth handling themselves, better? Do you feel like they're being treated better in society? Are you guys moving the needle to a safer space to be trans? Let's talk about it here in Colorado specifically.
Colorado, we have a lot of privilege. We have to make sure that we're using that privilege to continue to expand the work we're doing here, right? When we look at the bills we're passing, that's great, but we have to do more. The fight is not over. Youth are still experiencing bullying, dead naming, and the use of religious purposes to discriminate against them. And I think that that's not okay. And we need people and leaders, like the amazing people on this stage today and those watching at home, to step up and be willing to do something. Because I will be damned if my generation does nothing to keep the rights that were given to us by Black and brown trans women, right? And we talk about Marsha P. Johnson a lot, but she was found in a river dead, right? And that's something that's lost in translation, and we remember that in those days. And when they see people like myself, like I try to be the person I wish I had as a child, right? There was no representation of people like myself. And I think that it's so important that we use our platform to not only elevate the work we're doing, but really uplift the voices of the youth, because they're the ones that are going to move this movement forward. And it's going to take a whole lot of people to do that collectively.
And speaking of our youth, the LGBTQ resources, the one that comes to mind is the Healthline. A lot of that has become scarce since the current administration came about. What other resources can you three provide if there's anybody watching right now, whether it's in a school or whether it's just within the local community? What would you tell anybody watching if they needed to reach out for help?
I mean, we have organizations throughout Colorado that their purpose is to provide advocacy, support, peer groups,
Mental health.
for the LGBTQ plus community. We have organizations in Colorado like the Transformative Freedom Fund that can provide funding for gender affirming care for trans and non-binary people in Colorado. But I think ultimately it's a bigger issue of community really coming together, both the trans community and our allies, to really build a system and build a society where we don't need to access those supports at rates higher than our cisgender peers, right? Where we are truly seen and truly accepted within our community as a whole, instead of being othered on a regular basis and being used as political pawns on a regular basis. We need to create a culture where trans people receive the same humanity as everybody else.
We don't have a ton of time left, but I do want to pose this question because I think it's an important one, because when you look at visibility in media and politics, I mean, it is increasing slowly but surely. That doesn't always equate to safety, though, right? What do you see representation and how that's changing, reflecting in positive ways? What's a positive thing we can take away from today?
I mean, representation matters. I mean, this is being said a lot. And it does, because it gives youth the ability to see themselves in a place where they might want to be someday.
Right.
And without someone there to be that person, they don't see it. But visibility is not safety. And that's what the youth of today, seeing all the things and the things that are hearing them, things that are being said, they're scared. And they're worried about what the future really is. We've taken steps forward and steps backwards. And this generation has been given a lot of ability to be themselves and to see people like them. But visibility just opens the door, but we have to have more conversations and commitment afterwards to be sure that those folks have that ability to be themselves later on.
And I hope just conversations like this on a platform like this really reaches out to people. I want you to know we are committed of being allies and being with you guys. We appreciate everything you guys do for the community. I think it's so important. So thank you for being here today.
Our work gets more death threats than thank yous. So it really does mean a lot when Channel 9 News wants to make a point to stand with trans people. But now we have to think of even further. How can we create a platform that allows everybody to have a foundation where they can do something? That means employing people, right? Employing trans people, giving us housing. People are flocking here. Refugees in their own country, where we pay taxes like everybody else. We have less rights than you and right here next to me. And that's a damn shame. But the work continues, and it's awesome to have people like you who are willing to stand up with us.
Thank you.
Thank you
all
very
for being
much.
here and the work that you do. We'll be right back.
Thank you.